All right, Chess Smith, welcome back. Episode 380 of The Grit. Looks like we have some special guests today. Why don't you give the
We
introduction?
sure do, David Lee Scales. First, guess where I am this fine Thursday late morning.
Shot in the dark here, Asbury Park, New Jersey.
My favorite place on the face of the earth in Asbury Park, New Jersey, with the one and only on my right here. Or is that your left? Or is it your also right?
Your right is my left.
Yeah. So on your left, my right, Tommy Inken. On my left, and you know Tommy Inken. Where did you last see Tommy Inken, David Lee Scales? Do you recall?
I don't think I've ever seen him in person. I've only seen him on the internet,
What do you see Tommy Inken doing on the internet?
getting spit out of barrels,
Which kind of barrels?
Jersey Shore barrels.
Asbury Park barrels. But also,
Asbury Park.
Tommy was the model for Beach Grit's second and last wetsuit test thing. Remember that?
But that wasn't the last time I saw him. But yes, I do remember it.
Yeah. And then on my left, your right, is Flo. Flo, what's your last name again?
Meyer.
Flo, what?
Meyer.
That's really boring.
I know.
Flo Meyer, and both Tommy and Flo are here because they made, David Lee Scales, created out of nothing an invention that not only you need, not only I need, but every surfer on the planet needs. I'm going to send it on over to Tommy. Tommy first, what did you invent?
We invented a little device called SwellFrame. So pretty much what we got here is this beautiful little device that lives on your wall, can live on your desk, and it gives you a live surf forecast without having to touch any buttons, no refreshing, no subscriptions, no memberships, no fees. That's a big one. And yeah, just everything you need to know at all times without having to get sucked into your phone, more or less.
Flo, what was the impetus behind the creation of SwellFrame, and what hole does it fill in each and every surfer's heart?
So first, I will not be offended by being the boring guy. I actually live with that brand, and I'm embracing it. So it's not just my last name. I'll let Tommy be the cool guy, and I'll just be the guy in the background who builds stuff and puts stuff together. So yeah, what was the emphasis behind this? It was about trying to put something on my desk that while I sit at my desk most of the day for work, something that I can look at, glance at, and have an idea, is it worth paddling out today? Yes or no? And that's it, right? Like something that doesn't make me open a browser tab, a phone. Like I got two small kids. Being around them with my phone in my hand is like sort of the worst role model that I think that I can be. Yeah. So it's for the phone addicted person, but also just, for every parent that just wants to use their phone a little less. So we figured there must be some way how to bring the surf forecast out of the phone, out of the computer into a physical form. And so after, I don't know, how many rounds of iterations and testings, hundreds at this point, we've come up with SwellFrame. Yeah.
So I'm going to show you how it looks here, David Lee Scales. I'm going to bring this up. Oh, wait, let me, sorry. So instead of looking on your phone or computer, you just have this set up always, and it's perpetually refreshing, right?
Yep. Every 3 hours, this thing will refresh automatically. You don't have to touch any buttons. It never turns off. It's just always on.
It looks like the display itself looks almost like a Kindle. Is that similar comparison as opposed to like an iPad display?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. It's e-paper, e-ink,
Yeah,
exactly the technology behind a Kindle. What's different to a Kindle is that there's no touch screen. So we intentionally want to have technology that is least possibly engaging, right? There's a single button on the back that you only need during setup or resets or, these kind of things. But on the day-to-day where you like check your forecast or this kind of stuff, you do not actually interact with the device, and that's by design. So you don't go a level deeper. You see what you want to see. We have different visuals, different formats to single day, 2 days, 7 days, this kind of stuff, right? So you have like a longer outlook, but that's what you're going to get, right? So we want to intentionally avoid that you get sucked into the device. So in a way, it's technology that makes you use like less technology, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it's actually super smart. When Charles Mansell mentioned the idea to me, it was through text message, and my initial thought was the opposite. It was like, okay, it starts with this one thing, and then you add a bunch of complexity to it, and it becomes something else, and it is interactive. And then I immediately saw, you guys have done an excellent job, by the way, like deploying the kind of Kickstarter and the advertisements for it, because I couldn't escape it. I started seeing it pretty regularly. I saw the Ben Gravy video, of course, and the Ben Gravy video very much is about the opposite of doom scrolling. If you want to check the surf report on your phone, you end up getting sucked into other notifications. You end up on Instagram. You end up spending 20 minutes before you even check the surf, at which point you may have missed your window. And I was like, that is so smart. That is exactly what I need. I don't need another app. I don't need another complexity. I need a simplification. And so I think you guys absolutely nailed it. And again, that display, the device itself, eliminating any leakage from that kind of doom scrolling is super smart, smarter than I would have done.
Totally agree. When I first saw it, I thought initially, I was like, come on, what is this next tech thing? I didn't know that Tommy was behind it, or Flo for that matter. But I was like, come on, this is the last thing I need. And then I actually looked at it even before I knew Tommy was behind it and thought, wait a second, this is exactly what I want. I want to come downstairs and just see tide, swell direction, buoy, and then, because I'm silly, give me the 2 to 3, give me the 4 to 6 also, right? But that's it. I don't want to see a cam. I don't want anything else. So I literally thought, oh, I need this. And Tommy, how can I get one?
Well, right now, you can help us on Kickstarter. We are live on Kickstarter, but we're about we have 24 days left or so. Yeah, something like that. So we're live on Kickstarter. So go to Kickstarter, check out us through our Instagram as well, and then we'll be available in shops across the country.
So the functionality and operation is all already active, obviously. So you guys are kickstarting cash flow for the product itself, for the units. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's correct. So Tommy has we call it Surf Shop demo device. So it's preloaded with visuals of pumping days of famous surf spots so that you can show what it could look like, right? Kind of want to sell the good swell, not the bad days. My device, it's not the wooden look that we're selling. This is sort of it's the exact same device, just without the color. That's a live device right now. So we're in the Glide Surf Shop here in Asbury Park in the Wi-Fi network. And this is actually a visual that we haven't promoted yet. It's a a regional selector. So it's basically a spot finder. So you say like North New Jersey. Obviously, there are only like very known surf spots on it. We're not putting any secret spots or something like that on it. And it'll show you the top 3 out of the region, right? On a daily basis for tomorrow, and then later in the week, sort of highlighting the upcoming best sessions. So, yeah, this is sort of a couple versions behind what Tommy is having. But yeah, the technology is live, and the investment we are raising essentially through Kickstarter is mostly for like FCC, CE certifications EC certifications in Europe. Like, I always thought, like, how much can it be, right? So we're spending $3,000 to go to market in the US just for the certification. That seems like fair. It's $35,000 to do the extra certifications to be able to sell it to anybody in Europe. So that's like, so you were almost at $40,000 just to put a sticker on it to say this is safe. The funny part is every single piece of technology that we've custom built is still made of components that are all pre-certified. So technically, we're just using technology that even in small components existed before and refactoring it to a new purpose. And everything that comes in it is already certified as safe in everywhere in the world. Just as a new combination, it still needs to go through all that testing again. And that's just one aspect to what we're trying to fund with Kickstarter, right?
Gotcha.
So when where do they go? What's the Kickstarter's name? It's SwellFrame is the product. Can you just Google up SwellFrame Kickstarter? And then if you kickstart, do you actually get a device when it produces?
Yeah, so we're having a few options out there. They're basically just tiered. So the first round of people get it at a cheaper price. So we're going to market with an MSRP in shops or on our website once we're no longer in the Kickstarter phase for $139. Flies. At the moment, we're selling it for $97. So it's like 30-something% off. Just to provide an incentive to back us early, to be part of that journey. We'll throw in a note to everybody who's buying it. You also get a guarantee that Tommy and I will have screwed it together ourselves, which is not something you will get in the future when there's a bigger. Yes, we are. I'm not gonna say we're dreading it. I'm trying to stay positive and look forward to the evenings and days where we sit together and screw little chips and screens together. It'll be fun. But yeah, you'll have the guarantee that this has a personal touch from us. And that's available on Kickstarter right now till the end of the month. When that is raised, we are actually receiving the funds and we'll invest that straight into production. The contracts, everything is agreed with the manufacturing lines. All they're waiting for is payment. So we're basically just waiting for the Kickstarter to end and then to take as much money from that to fund the certifications as well as the production line.
How are the forecasts being generated?
I mean, you better.
I mean, yeah. Like I'll keep it light. We use the same underlying data sources like NOAA and all these global weather and ocean models that Surfline uses. Got to be very clear, we're not using Surfline, right? That I think that has to be very clearly stated. We're not using or referring to or anything, leveraging their technology, but they are not owning the buoys out in the ocean, right? They're also leveraging data that's out in the ocean, and that's the same data, raw data, that we're having commercial subscriptions for and paying for. And then we have built essentially just a visualization layer to make sure we're not showing out of the 25 swells that are currently coming in. We're picking out the actual primary swell and secondary swell and showing you the swell direction, the swell size in feet, the wind direction, the wind strength, and then we rate it in stars 1 to 5 to what we think this results in. But in the end, everybody knows their local spot. So you look at it, you kind of get like, it's, I don't know, it's 3 feet in Asbury today, or 2 to 3 feet a foot, whichever, one of the two, and 6 seconds, 7 seconds. That's a nice summer swell with offshore winds, right? So if you see that 1 second, no, it's worth going. But yeah, the underlying technology is fully self-built. But I will add one comment. We see ourselves more as a platform. So as we grow and as we scale, we're totally open and partnering with any surf forecast app or platform to allow them to bring their forecast to the device, so that it becomes essentially just a physical layer that you consume your forecast on that you're already used to, right? If you're a huge fan of Surfline, one day maybe if they want to work with us, you can open your app, go deeper, research the swell, the storm that's coming, but you also see that exact forecast that you're used to from Surfline on your device. So it's all one experience, but that's coming in the future.
Gotcha.
If you were the Shark Tank shark, David Lee Scales, would you buy?
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan. We have a digital picture frame in our house, I think a lot of people do nowadays. I did not think I needed it. When I saw the concept, I'm like, what? I have my phone. I have all these photos on my phone. I can look at those anytime. I have picture albums put away that I could look at anytime. Once we got the digital frame, it's become my favorite thing. I glance at it all the time. And so I think this operates alongside that, where, it just sits on the shelf. You can glance at it to see the surf report. And the fact that it's updating all the time encourages me to check it 3 or 4 times a day, to see how things are evolving throughout the course of the day. So I love it. I love the idea of spending less time on my phone. So I'm a buyer.
Sweet. Well, yeah, for those listeners who want, again, go to Kickstarter. And when does it ship, theoretically, if they kickstart, if they throw their money in?
Oh, like September.
Cool.
Like mid-September, late September, where it all depends on a million factors, but it's pretty accurate.
And I mean, once again, getting those screwed in by a German and a New Jersey boy, like that alone, I feel, I don't know how often you can have a piece of technology that's screwed together by a Jersey boy and a German.
The best of the best.
I think Tommy said it at the beginning, but it's also worth noting no monthly subscription fee, right? It's just the one-time cost for the machine.
Yeah, like we'll integrate some premium sort of, add-ons throughout, after launch. But if I'm not mistaken, the base level that we're offering, we'll never charge for. Correct? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy said it's spot on. There's never going to be any ads. That's the number one promise, right? Like even so, if you don't have a subscription, which we don't even have right now, but if that happens in the future, it's mostly to cover our own costs. For example, one of the visual that's on right now is a spot selector for the region, so it has 30 times our operating cost because we have to check 30 buoys to visualize that and rate it. Versus if you pick just Asbury Park, it's one buoy, right? So if you take one spot, you have the 7-day view, this kind of stuff. Like this will always be free with the device. So there's plenty of value to get without a subscription, without having an ad in front of you. So I think honestly, for most use cases, you don't need the subscription. And then we're thinking of like a 99 cents or something like that a month if you want to use some of the like more advanced features, really not because, I don't know, we want to suck more money out of it. It's just because they literally cost us 20 times more to operate the other ones. And I think that's like a fair and transparent deal.
Yeah, awesome.
There you go.
Sweet. Congratulations, you guys. Looks amazing.
Sweet.
Yeah, and the fishing thing. We're going straight into some other cool ventures with some fishing and marine forecasting. So look out for
Oh, yeah.
for some new stuff coming from us.
Fish finder?
You never know.
I just sit there and watch the stuff swimming across. Just missing it.
Flo's got something.
Yeah, just on what Tommy said with fishing. So we put it on Instagram, posted, and people like one of my favorite, and if maybe the person watches this, like threads that it started off was somebody was like, oh, I live in Hawaii and I go to this surf spot and I always check Surfline or whatever app they're checking to see when it's bad so that I can go fishing. So, so he reverse engineered for himself the use case of checking this spot to know when it's not good so that there's no surfers in the water. So funny. In my mind, I was like, okay, so like this is Tommy and I were straight jumping in, like, let's build this for fishing. Another friend was like, well, imagine we just put snow, like, your powder forecast. So that's something we're working on. And then essentially any forecast-based sport or the sport that lives by the forecast, right? Maybe fishing, snowboarding, scuba diving, where you need water clarity, anything that you can build a forecast on based on marine or weather data is something we're already working on.
Smart.
I'd buy stock if I could, David Lee Scales, but I can't.
Well, I know the Kickstarter's been really well received, so congrats, you guys. Product looks awesome.
Thank you.
Are you watching the Bolito Pro right now, David Lee Scales?
No, I didn't know it was on.
Yep, it is.
Phil, turn it on.
Tommy's missing it. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, too, we are in Glide Surf Shop in Asbury Park, an epic surf shop. Have you ever been here, David Lee Scales?
I know Phil, and I feel like I've been there.
Do you want to see Phil?
I've seen. What's up, Phil? Nice haircut.
I didn't know you were in New Jersey, so I don't know. Maybe not.
I have. I've been to Asbury Park. I've seen the shop so much. I feel like I've been there, but I don't know if I actually came in or not.
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of interacted for a number of years. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, stoked you guys are filming in here and recording in here. It's cool.
Yeah, you're looking good. I haven't seen the bald head yet. Looks good.
Yeah, sometimes that hair just starts to go away, and you got to make a decision before someone tells you need to.
I do. Awesome. Well, thanks for hosting us.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it, David Lee Scales.
You have the shop. See you guys later. Thanks so much. You're doing the show from the shop?
I sure am.
Are they open for business?
I hope so, Phil.
Okay.
Feel free. I would love to interact with have people in. I have no shame. It's the first time anyone's ever said that I sound anything other than a Muppet. Oh man, speaking of Muppets, Did you hear Griffin Colapinto on the new Stab, David Lee Scales?
I didn't hear him. We do have a listener email.
I guess so.
We have a
Man.
listener email about it, but I haven't actually listened to the episode. I've been listening to Stab Mike, that podcast, fairly consistently, maybe 80% of the episodes. I kind of have no interest in listening to that one.
The problem with Griffin, and I don't mean to say this in a way that sounds rude, but Griffin sounds as dumb as he sounds, if that makes sense, right? I don't know that he's that dumb, but his voice and the words that come out of his mouth are like the same level of like, wow, that's a dumb dude. And he sounds like a dumb dude, right? And I don't know that he is a dumb dude, but he definitely sounds like a dumb dude.
Let's try to factor, is this a reflection of us getting older and more crotchety and the young people just seem younger all the time?
Could be. I mean, that's always something we need to consider. And I don't need to be rude, don't mean to be rude, and I don't know. Griffin Colapinto could be the smartest dude ever, right? Some guys just sound like that, and they have the burden of sounding dumb.
I wonder if Stab is in on the joke a little bit, where we've talked about Griffin Colapinto's journey of self-betterment. And like, he's into meditation one week. He's into, what was that motivational speaker's name?
Oh,
Joe Dispenza. Joe
yeah,
Dispenza.
Dispenza.
Like, he's into that the next week and all this guided meditation, blah, blah, blah. Stab Magazine advertised that episode as, quote, the man in the arena,
Huh, yep.
which is a quote, Theodore Roosevelt quote, I believe.
Yep.
And then the subtitle was like, why is Griffin Colapinto quoting Theodore Roosevelt? And I'm like, are they now clowning on him because each week he has like a new motivational quote that he's living off of, or some new, thing that he's chasing? Or are they just accurately reflecting that's what his life is?
I think that when there's, and I remember this even with Dane, right? Dane Reynolds and Griffin Colapinto are obviously, I think, cut from very different cloth. But I remember Dane had, when I first interviewed him for Stab forever ago, 10, 12, 13, 15, 17, some long, many years ago, he was like out about, he liked to read books, right? Dane Reynolds. And I think that was enough in surfing to be like, this guy likes to read books? No way. I think that's all it takes. So the fact that Griffin Colapinto does anything other than surf can blow away people in the surf world. Like, whoa, you like meditate, bro? And it's, I don't think they think it's clowny. I think they think this guy is basically a renaissance. We have Leonardo da Vinci and we have Griffin Colapinto, and they're basically the same.
Do you want to hear the listener email that came through? Because it's pretty profound.
Yes, please.
I don't think you've even connected these dots yet.
Okay.
You'll see the first dot connect and you'll be like, oh yeah, obviously we kind of discussed that. But then there's other dots that connect down the way in this email. What's up, DLS and Chaz? I hope you both are morning surfing as well. I was listening to Stab Mike this week with Griffin Colapinto. If you didn't get a chance to listen to it, it was pretty typical young surf star interview. There were a few decent insights, but nothing extraordinarily enlightening, which is typical for the educationally disadvantaged that characterize our top surfers. However, one quote from Griff really grabbed my attention. Damian Farrenfort asked the cliche question, so Griffin, who is your favorite surfer? To which Griff pondered for a bit, and then he responds, Kelly Slater. Lame was the immediate thought that popped into my brain, but shortly after, I felt a Jimmy Neutron brain blast coming up from the depths of my subconsciousness. All of a sudden, it was clear to me, Griffin might be a member of the world's most exclusive cabal. Let me explain. We're all aware of the hot gossip from last year where Griff was exposed for having a questionably young girlfriend who was still in high school. This was followed by an internet controversy that ultimately resulted in some hilarious memes, and Griffin having to console his mother, who was the most bothered by the internet trolls. Don't worry, Griff, I'm no troll, just an aspiring surf journalist. We also know that Griff is Kelly Slater's biggest fan. We also now know that he's Kelly Slater's biggest fan. As one does when they're a super fan, they try to be like their heroes. Griff is a regular foot, just like Kelly. Griff is on Quicksilver, just like Prime Kelly. Griff has focused his training mind to win world titles, just like Kelly. Griff has a high school sweetheart girlfriend when he's 30 years old, just like Kelly did. As discussed, here on the Grit program, we know that Kelly found his baby's mama, Kalani, while Kalani was still in high school. I'm going to pause the email right now. That was over on our Patreon version of this show. For anybody who wants to go back and listen to that, go ahead.
And just it's a nice tease for the Patreon. Over on Patreon, there is some spicier meatball that comes up, a spicier meatball that is oftentimes on the Grit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, quote, when Kalani was just a girl writing in her diary about her fantasy of Kelly Slater picking her up in a black Escalade and touching Kelly's rock-hard surfer abs, Kelly was already a dad. But being a good dad and wanting to grant a little girl's wish, Kelly fulfilled her dreams by picking her up in his black Escalade and taking her along for a wild journey. Now, another pause. For the record, it was a black Tahoe, not a black Escalade.
Putting Kelly in a black Escalade I'm glad that you paused it there because it's one of the details that would have gone by without comment, except it would have haunted me for a long time. Like trying to picture Kelly Slater driving a black Escalade wouldn't have ever worked, right? And so then the whole thing would be like broken off into some alternate reality.
So from my sources who went to high school with Kalani, it was a black Tahoe that Kelly was picking her up in. And also, for the record, and again, go back and listen to that episode of Extra Fine Grit on Patreon if you want like all the gossip, innuendo, and maybe not whole fact. but after we published that, I actually ended up on a deep dive, and I found a video where Graham Benzinger, I don't know what that guy's, who he works for, but he posts his interviews on YouTube, and he did an interview with Kelly. And part of the interview with Kelly, he also interviewed Kalani separately, I think together, and then a separate one-on-one with Kalani. And she actually confesses the timeline. And so it's actually verified by Kalani herself that they met when she was underage, working as a model for Roxy, and then they started dating when she was 18 and still in high school.
Well, great. I like that that makes me, I've never thought anything negative whatsoever about Kalani. She always has seemed lovely, worked with her lovely brother at Surfing Magazine. He was lovely. And so I like that she leans into this, right? Like it is what it is. I was in it only reflects poorly on Kelly still,
So just to be clear, she wasn't offering up the information, but Graham asked her for dates and timelines. And he wasn't even being like salacious about it. He was just asking. And she doesn't say high school. She gives the date of when they started dating. And so I had to do additional layer of research and check where she was at that time and how old she was. She was 18. He was 32. He had a kid. She was in high school.
How old was Kelly's daughter when he was 32? I think Kelly had a daughter. I think he must have been like 20 or 21. He was young, maybe even younger. So let's say that his daughter was, I guess 11, 12. It's okay.
Yeah, I didn't look at the date of his daughter, but those are just kind of the general timeline for anybody who's curious. Go back and listen to that episode if you want the deeper gossipy dive. Okay, back to the email. Quote, now that we've established the Griff-Kelly connection, let's dive deeper. I'm assuming the name David Wooderson doesn't raise any eyebrows for the casual listener. But now it should. David Wooderson is a washed-up high school dropout still lingering around the high school hangout spots because he is kind of hot and he has a cool car. This character is played by the one and only Matthew McConaughey, who delivered the famously suspect line, quote, "That's what I love about these high school girls, man. They get older, I get older, and they stay the same age." End quote. Ew. So what relevance does the character Matthew McConaughey played in his fledgling acting career have to do with Griff and Kelly liking girls on the fresher side of life? I'm glad you asked. Remember that Griffin's world title run that culminated in a showdown against a broken-legged Ethan Ewing in his hometown of San Clemente? Remember who narrated his hype film produced by Quicksilver? That's right, Matthew McConaughey. Remember when Kelly Slater Waveco was scheduled to open a new KS Waveco in Waco, Texas? Do you know who was the major investor in that project? That's right, Matthew McConaughey. Makes you think. Also, correction, that wave pool was Austin, Texas, not Waco. Go ahead.
Keep going.
Okay. Email reads, there's something here. I don't think it's anything nefarious like an Epstein Island, but is it possible all of these connections are just a coincidence? Is there a cabal of kind of suspect hot surfer dudes? Who else is part of this exclusive cabal? Who else is trying to get in? San Clemente dads, beware. Work. We'll keep this one anonymous.
Thank you so much. A lot of meat on the bone here. So one thing here, if this circle was going to be rounded, Matthew McConaughey would also be having to date somebody significantly younger, right? His wife, Camilla, let's see how old she is. I want to say they're similar in age, but I could be wrong.
What's the age difference between... Oh, man, now I'm going to have to spell McConaughey. Do you have any idea?
I've got it. I've done it so many times at Beach Crit.
Actually, I got it.
C-O-U. Oh, never, it's hard to do it.
There's no U there. It's MCCONAU-GHTY.
Yeah.
13-year difference. He was 56. She was 43. To me, that's no problem, especially in your 40s and 50s.
Sure, but 13 ain't nothing.
13 ain't nothing when you're 18.
Yeah.
Or 13 is something if one of them is 18.
How long? They've been married for a long time, though, which means that when did he meet her? Because it would have maybe meant something when they met.
That's true. They met in 2006.
So how old was she and how old was he? Let's do the quick math here.
Dang you, man. You're really making my job hard today.
Yeah.
I can't do the quick math.
Okay, so she's 42 right now. 26, so 20. So she was 20, and he was. She was 20, and then he would have been 33. Is 20 and 33 okay?
It's close.
She can't drink alcohol in the United States legally.
It's close. 20 and 33 is pretty. I mean, ultimately, I don't have a super firm moral judgment. The moral judgment with the original Griff conversation was when you're in high school,
your worldview is different.
Your worldview is different, almost regardless of age. When you were in high school, you were just not an adult. You're not a fully formed adult. And so it feels a little bit predatory, especially if the older party is literally on the world tour experiencing all of that life. It just feels predatory. So I don't have that qualm with the Camilla thing if she was 20. And it seemed like she had life experience as well. She was a model traveling around probably. The issue that I have is when you're 32, what do you have in common with a 20-year-old? Like, it seems like there would be a bit of an intellectual divide in a normal scenario.
But as discussed, Griffin might be forever young. I want to be forever young. He might have just a innocence and exuberance, a naive curiosity about him that fully fits well. Like if he was with a 25-year-old woman, he would just say, why are you so jaded? Why is everything so glass half full? This world is our oyster.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
That comes with, additional complexities. I think it's easier to date somebody who's young, who doesn't have all of those questions and curiosities and holding you accountable.
Okay, but let's say that it's all making, like, the fact that there's a 13-year age gap between McConaughey and his wife. So it is, like, and I feel it is almost a Wooderson cult. Like,
whether they know it or not.
Yeah, they're in a Wooderson cult. But also, even though Wooderson, what he said and what he did and how he acted should have been like really creepy, right? Off-putting. Something about it is real innocent. Like even him standing outside of the pool hall or wherever he's standing when he says, thing I like about high school girls is I keep getting older, they stay the same age. That is foul, like it is a foul line, right? Did you feel foul the multiple times you've heard that? Or I don't know how many times you've seen Dazed and Confused, but did you think, ew, or did you think, look at that, dude? And him like driving the strip, picking up chicks, high school chicks and all that. So I wonder if the Cabal is almost like opposite Epstein Island. It's the same thing. Old dudes dating young girls, but totally innocent.
There's 100% there's an innocence to it. I don't think that there's anything. Making the Epstein connection is totally not fair.
I mean, but let's be honest.
These are consensual. These are consensual.
Of course.
These are consensual relationships. The problem that I have isn't about whether it's consensual or not. It makes me judgmental of the older person in the relationship because I feel like they're less mature than I expected them to be. Like if you're finding commonality with somebody that is that much younger, and again, the age difference matters when they're at that age. When they're 20 years old, if you have that much in common with them when you're 30 whatever years old, it makes me realize you're not as mature as I thought you were, because I've been 30 something and I tried to talk to 20 girl, or I would interact with 20-year-old whatever, the younger sister of my girlfriend or the waitress at the restaurant or whatever it happened to be, and there's a huge intellectual divide.
Okay, I saw just today, to add, because this could be part of the member, there's a Texas connection also here, and I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't think this guy serves, but Luke Wilson. You know, Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson's brother, just had a baby. He's 54, just had a baby with his 24-year-old, either girlfriend, I think girlfriend. A 30-year gapper right there, right?
Makes me like him less instantly.
Because, like, do you think there's confusion in the room? Is he, like, that's what I suppose I wonder. Like, our, whatever, experiences, you know, how we grew up, when we grew up, even if you're not being always nostalgic or living in the past or whatever, it would still come up. It's like, that's what formed you, right? What formed you being entirely different than what formed somebody else would be strange in a room.
Yeah, exactly. Look, there's a possibility that those dudes who got into their 30s, maybe they had dated age-appropriate women for a period of time, it comes with complexities. It comes with, compromise. It comes with, we're equals, and so I'm going to have to give in to you at times and vice versa. And maybe they got to the point where they were like, this kind of sucks. Like, I'd rather just be with somebody who there is an intellectual divide with, to where we have a good time together, and then she has her friend group that socializes in the way that she wants to socialize. I have my friend group who socializes in the way that, and we separate. And that is their solution.
You would think that would be how you would mostly have to live your life and you go with your friends, I go with my friends. When we're together, and we're only talking about things that happened in our shared time together, right? You're not going to talk about when you were in high school. I'm not going to talk about when I was in high school. We're only going to talk about if we started dating 4 months ago, that's the beginning of when we're allowed to speak about.
Totally. And so I recognize Luke Wilson and his 30-year younger baby mama probably has a great time together. Like they have, I'm not questioning like the amount of joy and, love that they have, but it comes with a limitation. Is that what I'm suggesting? And so then I question, like, all right, that person suits certain parts of your life, but I don't know that they could be a fully formed partner in your life.
Back to the Cabal, though.
Yes, I have thoughts on that.
Are we living in a particularly, I'm going to say innocent, let's say mentally innocent era of professional, at least on the male side, professional male surfers? Were they always this kind of, because really you look at the crop, everyone seems kind of wet behind the ears, right?
In what way? I don't know.
They seem naive. They seem childlike. They seem Colapinto-esque, all of them. I don't know about all of them, but you know, you got Jordy, who's like elder statesman. Does Jordy smack you as old and wise?
No, not really.
Yeah, doesn't Jordy? I mean, nothing obviously against Jordy, but doesn't Jordy also smack you as kind of perpetually young, as spotless-minded?
A little bit.
So that's what I guess I'm getting at. It feels like there's a real spotless mind era, and I'm wondering, has professional surfing always been spotless mindy?
No, I don't think so. Like when I think of what's changed is you and I have gotten older. Back to the original point is when I was growing up, Matt Hoy and, you know, Chris Ward, they looked like 35-year-old men. They were probably 26 at the time. They looked like 35-year-old men who were wild and reckless. And so now I look down at Ethan Ewing and I think he looks like a child to me. And Jack Robinson still feels like a child to me. I think their behavior isn't as bad as that previous example was, but I think they're probably smarter and more mature in a lot of ways than that 90s group of surfers.
Do you think, yeah, and I'm not saying mature here. I'm saying like a spotlessness to the mind, right? Again, an innocence, a naivete, a kind of junior high-esque brain function, right? Where I look at Griffin Colapinto. Look at Griffin Colapinto. I don't even think an 8th grader would look at Griffin Colapinto and think that dude is my elder. I think an 8th grader would look at Griffin Colapinto and say, he and I, simpatico.
Griffin's the ultimate example. And so, yeah, I think an 8th grader does relate to Griff. That is true.
Yeah.
So back to the cabal, though, real quick. Cults and or cabals form because of a shared set of values or shared set of interests. But I don't think that it's nefarious. I think that those guys happen to like young girls and have dated young girls, young women, I should say. And that's part of their shared interest. Like, it is what it is. The numbers are in, but it's not nefarious. It's not like I'm going to go take advantage of these people. It's like, man, I want a girl who's not going to, you know, hold me accountable in the same way a 40-year-old woman would. So, and I got a buddy over here who shares the same values. And so now we're in a group together.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like literally what it is, but it's not nefarious.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Happy Epstein Island. It's like if Epstein Island wasn't a bad, evil place. This is like the bizarro Epstein Island.
The problem with the analogy that I don't even need to state is that those are not consensual relationships.
I know. That's why this is bizarro. This is the Happy Epstein Island. It's men who like younger women, not nefariously.
12 years younger. Doesn't matter which public institution they're still attending legally. They just happen to like them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's Wooderson Island is precisely what it is.
Here's the craziest thing. When I read that email, I thought Wooderson was the worst version of all of these things that all these people were talking about. This is the caricature who's on a movie. He's the ultimate creep. Now that I'm thinking about it, Wooderson was really only like 3 years older than those chicks.
I mean, he was what? He had graduated high school. He was working as a welder or something. What was he working at? They go through his job.
He was not 12 years older.
No. He was like, I think 3 or 4.
So that's my point is, what I thought was the worst example was actually not nearly as bad. He's the best example. He's the shining example. He was just a couple years out of high school, and he was still living in the town. So it's very arguable that he was actually mentally more immature or emotionally more immature than that high school redhead chick that he was going for. She seemed overly mature.
Absolutely. And I mean, he was hanging out at all the places they were hanging out too. So he was having he was living a high school experience. But again, back to both Kelly and Griff, what if traveling on the championship tour is basically a high school experience, if you're just never out of high school?
An argument could be made for that.
Yeah. Like it is just, you think you're traveling the world, and so you're actually getting, or you or I would think, if we were traveling the world, we'd be trying to go to museums and whatnot, at least at some point. But I wonder if these guys, if it just is high school, school's in forever.
I think you can delude yourself into believing that that is true. I think that there's an element of doing that lifestyle that where it is kind of true. You don't have to grow up, but I think that you can additionally delude yourself because you have so many young girls presumably throwing themselves at you. The party comes to town in Sakurama, and all these young girls want to hang out with the pro surfers or Bolito right now. And so you can just live in that fantasy until you're 30 if you wanted to.
Okay, here's a question. This is something I have not thought about for quite some time. Do women still throw themselves, air quote, at professional surfers? Is like the whole idea of professional surfing, has it become so clean and, you know, we work out, we drink protein shakes, we're even off coffee because we're drinking mushroom, you know, chaga, whatever it's called, and we take ice baths. If all of that is so like un-rockstar that you don't have groupies anymore.
They still have groupies.
You think so? You think if
100%.
if we were in Bolito right now, there'd be young women or older women, any kind of women, lurking around, waiting to catch the eye of Cole Houshmand.
Yep, 100%.
Is Cole Houshmand in Bolito?
I don't know, but but I say 100% not because I haven't been around that scene in years, so I can't say that I've seen it, but I can say that has happened throughout history in every culture.
And I suppose in every sport, I would imagine that bowlers have groupies at some level.
100%. Yeah, so that's still happening. But to connect the dots to a news story that was on Beach Grid a couple of weeks ago, quote, hope fades hard for Austin, Texas surf ranch after reports reveal massive debt. Do you have any actual scoop on what the standing of this is right now?
Yeah, it was in the
I like turtles.
it was in the Austin Business Journal, and there's liens on the property totaling, I can't remember how many million, but in the tens, if not 20s of millions of dollars. I want to say maybe less than that. I don't know. Millions, at least in the millions of dollars of liens against the property. So they haven't even started, I don't think, anything yet, right? I don't think they have broken ground.
Well, I think, well, they did break ground. They tore out the old pool, and I
mean-
think it's all just like dirt at the moment, but I don't think they've started building.
Yeah. And so, but anyway, I don't know. I just know Austin Business Journal reporting that there's liens against it. So if there's already liens against it, you and I would get, I think, sales material just accidentally fed to us by not by our wealth, but by our proximity to surf, right? I don't see like book now or buy your condo now at this thing. So it seems like particularly with the liens that it's well out of ever becoming a reality.
So I am so ignorant to the way that business operates or big business operates. And I see people that do go into bankruptcy, but it's actually strategic, you know? And I'm like, what
Yeah.
the hell? How do you do that? And they're consolidating stuff and whatever. And then that was always my question with this news story is ultimately, will the pool be built? And there's just some thing that they're doing strategically right now, or maybe it's not strategic, but ultimately, if McConaughey and a bunch of other people put tens of millions of dollars into it, they're not going to wash it away. They're going to just add the next level of investment to get to the end goal. Or do you think that this will never be built?
I mean, I don't know that it won't ever be built. It just seems to me that the idea of luxury condo, whatever they are, homes, I don't know if they're single units or whatever they are, but around a surf pool, I don't know that this concept, especially not with a surf ranch style, with the Kelly plow pool, I don't know that the concept has ever, what are the communities built around a wave pool that are up and running?
I don't know of any that have gotten up and running successfully yet.
Are there any, there's got to be one. I feel there's one. Private, they sold homes, it's around a wave pool. Isn't there one are all the wave pools that exist public? Like,
So the Virginia Beach pool has condos that are built there, but I don't know if they've started filling the condos yet or selling the condos yet.
But also, the pool is going to be open to the public
The
either
pool
always.
The pool is already open. Yes, correct. You don't have to own a home there to buy space in the pool, and the pool is already open. I just don't know if the condos are being sold yet.
Which, I mean, I guess that's the question about that Austin, the Kelly McConaughey pool, is like it was heavily, it was all one, like mixed use, residential, retail, and this pool, right? If you open that pool to the public, it just seems like it's. I don't know how. I'm no expert of anything, but it just seems like a difficult thing to sell, right? Like the ticket to that pool is huge money in order for you to have any kind of profitability on it. What does the Abu Dhabi one go for? What's the ticket? It's like $1,000 a day, right?
I have no idea.
I think it's $1,000 a day. So let's assume it's $1,000 a day to surf in, Austin. But then you own a home there. But then what do which again, it's real confusing, which may be why they are not building it. Maybe it's like, we would have to sell these condos or homes or whatever for like $4 million each to make this thing work. And just people aren't buying for that.
Yeah, that's the one that they proposed out in La Quinta. I remember that was projected. The home sales were going to be around that $4 million range. I think like 4.5. And then that got thwarted, I think, at the city council. Thanks in
Beach
part
Grit?
to Beach Grit. Yeah. But there's one in Thermal, I think they're building, that has the residential model. I think there's one in Cabo that has the residential model. But again, neither of those are actually built yet, or I think even the homes haven't even sold yet. There's another development in Utah that has a wave pool technology, but it's, I think, like
It's a standing wavy.
Yeah, it's a river that already flows, and then they put like a standing wave thing in there, so it's not the same model.
Question for you. You do something that I don't do. You enjoy something that I dislike. And we don't talk about it, but that thing is golf. Sometimes I see people who have their whole backyard like a putting green, right? It's like, and I wonder, since I don't golf, I look at that putting green and I think, wouldn't you get bored of that, right? It's all the same. It doesn't change. None of it ever changes. Like, and I'm talking about not just the one hole in the back. I'm talking their whole entire yard is different holes, with on different, like a little bit raised feature, whatever. Yeah?
Yeah, I think you'd get bored of
mini
it.
golf. Yeah. Would you? I mean, that's what I wonder. If you live in a residence that has a wave pool, if it'd be like a backyard putting green. If you'd be like, yeah, I thought it was a good idea when I put it in, and it was cool. I liked it for 6 months, but I never go back there anymore.
I think it would be.
Like,
I think without the option of tremendous variability for the waves, it would definitely get boring eventually.
And of all the wave technologies, and who knows what they're doing with the plow and all this, I have no doubt that there is advancements on the horizon. But as it is now, the Kelly technology is the least changeable, modifiable. I mean, that wave is what it is every single time, besides the ways that it can barrel in different sections. But it's still barreling. It's just barrels in the middle now, or barrels at the end.
To really stretch to make this analogy work, Kelly keeps getting older. You need to change those settings to keep the settings fresh. You gotta, if you want to keep the pool at the same age, you gotta add new adjustments to the bottom, maybe.
Flick that out. So wait, what are we calling the cabal though? Because I think now it is. I think now that we've established that it is a cabal. I mean, is it a cabal? Is it a cult? Is it? All of those have negative connotations with them. What is a? Is this a supper club? Is that what it is? It's a supper club where you've got to bring a woman at least 13 years younger than you to the supper club.
We could call it the DiCaprio Club.
Is it sort of like Disneyland and or an amusement park where instead of you have to be over this height to ride the ride, you have to be under this age to come in?
So the famed supper private supper club at Disneyland is called Club 33, and I think there's a built-in, we'll call it Club 18.
Boom. That's what it, Club 18. There we go. It's a club.
Do you want to Veyer tools to live by?
I sure do.
Veyer watches, do you want to be associated with us anymore?
Sorry, Bear, but it's good work. It's important work.
VeyerWatches.com/surfsplendor to save 15% off your ocean-ready waterproof guaranteed timepiece. This one comes from a listener, and yeah, it's the original surfboard sleeper, actually. So here we go. I'm going to play it for you.
What's up, DLS and Chaz? This is probably going to fall under Veyer tools to live by because me and my buddies are in need of some help. Probably psychological help, probably life tools help, but we're in desperate need of help, and we think only you guys can save us. Context is we've just come back from an incredible 2-week boat trip in the central atolls of the Maldives, and it was just one of those dream trips, the right people, the perfect waves for the crew on hand, lifelong intermediates and slightly below. And it was just incredible. It was dreamy. The weather was perfect. The reef breaks were crystal clear. The waves were fun throughout. It was just heaven. Then we scatter to our four corners of the earth. We had some Aussies on trip. We had some Cape Townians. I'm from Bolido, South Africa. Original surfboard sleeper, you may remember me. And we landed back 2 weeks ago, and since then we are, all of us, without coordinating or planning, the group WhatsApp chat went silent, and we've all been suffering in silence. It's as if we've had surf heroin, and now we don't know how to be without our surf heroin. My return to the Durban KZN area has been met with some solid swell, offshore winds, great waves by anyone's scale. And I've pulled up at the ocean 3 or 4 times. I've stared at what historically would make me froth like a grom, and I've said, nah, not doing it. I can't, because it's not my surf Maldivian heroin. So the question, and then we found out on the group only 2 days ago that everyone is feeling the same. They've lost motivation for living, really, let's be honest. Because if we can't surf, we can't live. And we're all in this deep funk state of depression, withdrawal symptoms. What do we do, guys? Help us out. What do we do? How do we get over this? We need a tool to live by. Please help us. VeyerWatches.com/surf, I think it is. Also, just as a closing, you guys on the surf nicknames, you forgot the current legend that is Kaloe Andino. Brother, come on, guys. That works in so many levels, and he's a legend. Anyway, help us out, please, guys. We're in desperate need here. Right, work out.
This is a tough one, David Lee Scales. This one hits close to home. It's one of those where you're on or doing something amazing, and you know that amazing thing is going to end, and you start to kick yourself midway through, or I do at least, thinking, I should have never done something amazing. I should have just kept in the humdrum, boring life. Why I should have never raised my expectation for anything other than just somewhat bleak, because it always ends, and then you're going to be depressed.
So it's too late for the original surfboard sleeper, sadly.
Too late, except for you can't live your life that way. You can't be rejecting beautiful things because you know that you can't live beautifully always. So there is, I remember coming home from summer camp, did a month at a camp called Woodleaf. And it was just like time of my life, right? And came back and was so bummed for so long, just the bummed, sad. And it goes away eventually, the sad and the bum, of course. But how do you get it away quickly is the question.
I've got it for you.
Hit me.
It is one of life's ultimate dilemma. That you use the heroin analogy. You're chasing the dragon, right? It's like you need that next high. You need a higher high than you had before. There's good built into that, creating a drive, wanting more, all of that actually keeps you motivated, and I think it can be a healthy thing. What I think the issue for them here is that they calibrated incorrectly. They thought that the warm water and that the perfect barrels were the essence of surfing. That was never the essence of surfing. That was the cherry on top, but the substance is the food itself, or the rest of that cake. And so the real essence is being immersed in the rhythm of the ocean. No matter where it is, it's being in the proverbial womb of Mother Nature. That's the thing that you're actually craving, and that you will, if you don't, I know you said you went and checked the waves, and did you say Bolito that he was from?
Yeah, Bolito. Yep, sure did.
Bolito. So when you go check the waves for the first week or two and it doesn't look as great, of course. But if you go a month, I guarantee you're going to be craving just the essence portion, just to get back into the water, to feel the rhythm of the ocean. And so that is the adventure of the surf trip, the travel of the surf trip, the camaraderie with friends. That was the essence of the experience. And then the rhythm of the ocean. Getting the barrels, getting the warm water was just the sheen. That was just the superficial portion.
Surfboard sleeper, David Lee put me on the right track here. Original surfboard sleeper, got to grow up, man. When we're 4 years old, yeah, I wanted Oreos for dinner too. You eat Oreos for dinner? That's lame. If you live in the Mentawai life, if you live the atoll life, eventually it's going to get lame too, right? You look at people say this, but I think it's true. You look at, does Jeff Bezos look happy to you, David Lee Scales?
I saw him at that the World Cup game, the one that America lost. The camera panned to him and his girlfriend, and I was like, neither of them look happy.
Yeah.
Or him and his wife, I should say.
Does Mark Zuckerberg look happy to you, ever?
He looks like a robot.
I mean, yeah, he looks like he's trying to be happy. He's trying to make a smile, what humans do sometimes. But I think all of this, like if you were living the Mentawai life, always, that wouldn't make you happy either. You would be just like, yeah, so you just got to reset. You're right. You got to recalibrate. Bolito is where joy is. And dessert is also fantastic. I love me a good tiramisu as much as the next guy. But I can't eat tiramisu for 3 squares a day.
You know who the biggest tiramisu fan is?
Who?
4-year-old son, Austin.
Oh, man. Yeah. It's funny that, did children's tastes change? I remember the first time I had anything related to coffee, and I love the smell of it, but just thought that is a foul taste. That is, it tastes like I'm eating a campfire.
He loves tiramisu and he loves ice cream. And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure Ben and Jerry's makes a tiramisu ice cream. And I told him that, and we've been on the hunt. We've been to probably 10 different stores over the last 2 months. We check the ice cream aisle every time, cannot find it, and now he thinks I'm a liar.
Man, it's a real bummer to be made. I mean, are you sure that it does exist?
No, I thought that I saw it at one point. I said it prematurely. I need to just go on their website and order it, I guess, is what I need to do now if it does exist. But back to the point, stay calibrated in such a way that you appreciate the rhythm of the ocean, always being immersed in it. That is the essence that we are privileged to participate in. When you get dessert, you like dessert. You love the dessert, but you don't need dessert all day, every day.
Yep. And that not only do you not need dessert all day, every day, if you do eat dessert all day, every day, it will wreck you.
So Cloud9 just got added to the WCT schedule this year and next year, and I didn't mention this quote last week, but I seem to remember, when that first article came out in the magazine where Taylor Knox and Evan Slater went and surfed it, I seem to remember Evan Slater quoting in that magazine that they got tired of getting barreled. He was like, after 3 days of getting backdooring these right-hand barrels, head high, right-handed barrels over and over all day, every day for 3 days, the waves were still barreling. We got in the boat and went elsewhere because we needed to do a turn.
That's what happens. So enjoy, embrace, and feel lucky that you, original surfboard sleeper, that you do get calibration. If you're too rich, you don't get calibration anymore. If you can have whatever you want,
Yep.
what good is anything?
Yep. All right. I hope that helps. Vayer. By the way, Original Surfboard Sleeper, I appreciate the effort, but it's actually VayerWatches.com/surfsplendor for the 15% off. Not just
Worth
surf.
it. And man, these watches cannot speak highly enough of them.
I know. Feels so good. Okay. We need to take a break. I think I'm going to take a shower during that break after our Club 18 conversation.
Innocent.
Not because
Take
I
a
feel
bubble bath.
Yeah.
Bring the rubber ducky in there.
To be clear, I don't feel gross. Well, I do
No.
feel a little gross talking about it, but I also feel gross that they're doing it. It's kind of like
But I thought we determined that
I know.
it's all innocent. What are
I know. Okay. I won't take a bath.
Is it not?
We'll be back. We'll be back with a listener email and a couple of barrels or nos. Chaz, welcome back to the show.
Nice and clean.
I just opened Instagram, and guess who which celebrity I got to watch surfing now?
Not Paris Hilton, because you did that last week. So I'm going to go with Margaret Qualley.
I wish.
Man, good news on that front. She just got divorced.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Geez, what's the age difference? Now I'm going to be caught. I'm a victim of my own judgment at this point. How old is Margaret Qualley? Here's the weird thing is she's only 31, so that's a 13-year age difference. Wow.
Boom. You could enter Club 18 with that.
Club 18. Now, here's the creepiest part. I might prefer Margaret Qualley's mom,
Oh, yeah.
which
Yep.
would be an even bigger age difference.
That's good. Good for you.
Yeah. What does that say about me? Andy McDowell is 68.
Boom. But, yeah, you're kind of splitting the diff there.
Splitting the diff.
Oh, wait.
No, Amy Schumer.
Oh, Amy Schumer. Where did Amy Schumer go surfing?
With Will Scudin. Will Scudin Surf School. It was a collab post between the two of them.
Cool. Good job,
Yeah.
Amy.
Yeah,
Like
it
to see
shows her today with the encouragement of Will Scudin and my falling back in love with surfing. I was able to get back up on the horse and show my little boy that I wouldn't let the fear hold me back. We rode waves together, hugged, laughed, blah, 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 blah. So she went surfing with her son. Welcome, Amy Schumer. The culture is already dead. Come on in, the water.
Come on in. Water is great.
So email came in from a listener, and the title was Poo-poo Touch, and it says, David and Chaz, I don't know about you, but this whole World Cup red card reversal situation has reminded me how bad some people can come down with a case of the poo-poo touch. Is our dear president one of the heavily afflicted among us? Red hats, reflecting pools, and now FIFA will forever be tainted, probably never to recover their once illustrious reputation. The World Cup has been an event that has, up until now, united the masses through booze and goals, but now all I'm left with is DJ Seaweed's Poo-Poo Touch anthem playing on repeat in my head. Maybe can we get it played for old time's sake on an upcoming episode? I miss that banger. Regards, Kevin from Jersey. So
Sweet. Kevin from Jersey. Come on down to the shop.
Yeah, maybe should I just play it?
Yeah, play it.
Poo-poo touch. You'd have the poo-poo touch. You'd have the poo-poo touch. You got the poo-poo touch. The poo-poo touch is real. He does the poo-poo touch on whoever he feels. Elo's legacy. He did the poo-poo touch, now he's touching me. WSL, did we fail? The champ is bowed out, I wish him well. Surfing seems it's upside down. The girls are boys and the boys are girls now. The poo-poo touch is the touch of poo-poo, 'cause I don't want no chickens and cho-poo. The poo-poo touch, it stinks of poo-poo, 'cause I don't want no final five. The poo-poo touch, it stinks of poo-poo, 'cause I don't want no chickens and cho-poo. The poo-poo touch of poo-poo, 'cause I don't want no final fight. No, I wanna see him serve pipe. Yeah.
Banger, DJ Seaweed. Thank you for your work.
It's been too long. Thank you,
Way too
DJ
long.
Seaweed. Thank you, Kevin from Jersey,
Yep.
for reminding me. The problem is I've been on a new computer for about a year, and the Poo-poo Touch and some of the old classics were left on the old computer, so I had to go search them, reload them onto this one, but they're back.
Bring them back.
The I Like Turtles Too. I was going to play it here, but we'll save it for next week because that's another banger. Like,
Great.
he likes turtles, I like turtles too.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly, you're so fine.
We got a full album, I feel. DJ Seaweed could release all.
I'm going to go ahead and add, if I can, I'm going to add that to our Spotify feed on the Grits playlist. You could just listen to the Poo-poo Touch alone if you want.
Great.
Yeah. But for those who don't remember, I feel like there's probably a lot of listeners who weren't listening at that time. You coined the term. It was when Eric Logan was CEO of the WSL, and everything that he did was worse than the previous decision and seemed to contaminate the entirety of the surfing experience. And so you deemed him as having the poo-poo touch, which was the opposite of Goldfinger's Midas touch.
With the Donald Trump analogy here, I think that what maybe can give you the poo-poo touch is if you wildly self-promote. Donald Trump is always wildly self-promoting, right? That's his whole thing, is self-promotion. Elo was too. Elo was always self-promoting.
There is a connection there for sure. Elo, how do you like that one? That might
Yeah,
be the
Elo.
biggest insult we've ever leveled.
Yeah, Elo.
Okay, well, by the way, how's things going in the shop? Are people coming and going?
No, it just feels like locked it up. And I think there's even a sign out front that says, shut your mouth hole, or something
no.
like that.
hate to see
So we should let Phil go back into business.
Okay, well,
We should bang through some barrels or not real quick.
Barrels or Not, real quick. Here comes a listener in reference to last week's Barrel or Not about surfing naked.
Chaz, David, this is AMAC in Nova Scotia. As somebody who married a woman who doesn't appreciate naked sleeping, which I've been one to partake of since I can remember, I found the perfect solution recently on a trip to Sri Lanka. Wonderful place to surf, wonderful people, incredible country. And they had the perfect solution, which is sleeping in a sarong. This will, I can say, this will satisfy both parties. You'll have the comfort that comes from sleeping naked without the discomfort that comes from seeing somebody sleep naked. That's it. Keep work.
Barrel or Not, sleeping in a sarong.
Big barrel, big barrel.
So a sarong is just a thin cloth wrapped around you, kind of like you would a towel after you get out of the pool.
I think we should extend this, though. Men wearing sarongs, and not, I'm saying Indonesian men or Yemeni men or men who the sarong is their cultural wear. Western men wearing sarongs whilst in tropical and or sarong culture locales.
Okay, whenever I've seen a man in a sarong or kilt, for that matter, any free-flowing garment that is non-restrictive, I'm jealous. And I see him, I'm like, I can't pull that off, but what's that like? How does that feel? I'm kinda
great.
curious. So doing it to sleep, and so as not to offend the wife or any house guests when you wake up in the middle of the night, I think might be the perfect solution.
Absolutely. And also, you're not culturally appropriating in the wild. Like, you are, in the comfort of your own bed, culturally appropriating.
All right, when we're done, I'm going to get on quince.com/surfsplendor and see if they have any sarongs available.
Sarong it up. Yep. I'm jealous, too, of skirt-wearing men cultures, because you can't. If you or I wore a kilt, we would rightfully get laughed out of any room we came into, because what percentage Scottish are you in your 23s and me's?
My dad and my grandma have red hair, so there could be a percentage there.
I mean, what percentage Scot do you have to be to wear a kilt?
More than 50%.
Yeah, I'm going to say 60, more than 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to really own it. Like,
Yeah.
even if I was 51%, I don't know that I could put that on with it much confidence.
You could wear it to a wedding, though. I'm always real jealous when I see them at formal occasions, like when everybody's wearing tuxes, and then, oh, there's Prince Charles in his kilt.
Yeah, yeah, living it up.
Yep.
Okay, second barrel or not?
All right, this is a barrel or not for the grit. I don't know if you guys have done this one before, but it's the word booty. I'd never thought about it before, but I was having a conversation with one of my friends. We were talking about our booties, and a girlfriend of mine came over, and she was just like, saying the word booties, and she didn't really know anything about surfing and all that, and ever since then I haven't been able to sort of unhear how offensive that word can be to someone who's outside of the culture. And I don't even know if I like saying it. I feel like there's a everything's getting shortenification. And could we say just surf boots? I don't know. I don't mind surf boots personally, but booties is tell me barrel or not.
Booties, barrel or not, Chaz?
I went through this years ago, I think at Surfing Magazine, where I did try to bring boot into the nomenclature, and not because booty is like, look at her booty or look at his booty, but because booty seems super childish, like, you know, the diminutive. But since then, I've realized that's what that thing is called, a booty. So I didn't name it. Nobody named it. It named itself. That's what it is. We have to respect its choice.
The reason I like it is that it is irreverent. Like, I think that surfing is irreverent. It always has been a part of the culture, and I think that it was intentionally named that for its irreverence. Sex wax probably came up with that name because it was a little bit salacious, you know what I mean? And I like that that's part of the culture, and I like that your girlfriend feels uncomfortable by it. It's funny, you know?
Except this is the first time in my entire 50 almost years of life, 42 of them, 4 of them, something, being in and around surfing, that I've ever even thought about booty as bootylicious related to booty as in surf booty.
I've been in the exact experience as the caller where I've never thought about it until I say it in mixed company, and they're like, "What? What's a booty?" You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, it's the wetsuit for your foot."
That's what it is. It's what it is. That's what it is, though. Like it or not, that's what it is. So it's a barrel.
I'm going barrel.
Yeah.
All right, final barrel or not. Rushing through these. Making out with your wife. Sounds weird, I'm sure, but after the sleeping naked conversation, it jarred a thought. I've been married for a decade, and my wife and I don't really make out unless it's to instigate sex. I enjoy it when we do it, and I didn't think that I missed it in regular life, but our neighbor has a teenaged daughter, and her and her boyfriend sit out in front of their house, sit out in front for hours into the night just making out, not going further. I know this because he eventually drives off alone. My wife and I gently make fun of him whenever we see it, but it had me wondering. Maybe she and I need to go back to the basics. It seems awkward and almost gross to just go for it out of nowhere. What do you think? Should I start a conversation with her, just lay one on her, or is it barrel or not?
I think it's a barrel, and I think, though, you can't have a conversation about it. You don't have a conversation about making out when you're in high school, right? So you got to go up. If you could get your wife to make out with you, that would be pretty major, right? I think if you went up to Lauren and tried to get her to make out, like you put the moves on and you started making out, would she be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, totally. Yeah. If it was like randomly on the sofa, like,
yeah,
she'd be like, "What's going on here?" Like,
is there any way you could start making out with her where she would go along with it? How long would she make out with you for?
So she would, not to reveal too much, but in reference to the email, she would think I was trying to instigate going further.
Obviously,
basically.
of course,
so,
obviously.
Especially if it was with nobody else around, or the kid
Yeah.
is asleep or something.
And
like
you
that.
better, and let's be honest here too. Adults making out in public, kids making out in public, they barely get a pass, right? Adults definitely shouldn't be making out in public, right?
Correct. So she would definitely be like, "What are you doing?" Unless she was raring to go, in which case it'd have to be a scenario where nobody is around. So this experiment would only exist if I did it out in public where that wasn't an option, and she would just be like, "What's going on?"
Okay, so here we go back to the what if though you started making out with her and either she was like, "Well, what are you doing?" and or "Let's go to the bedroom." And you're like, "Nope. Let's just stay right here." And nope, keep all your clothes on.
Yeah,
We're just-
I don't want anything more from you. What are you?
Yeah,
No,
we're just making
it's-
out. I mean, is the sexual component, let's call it that, the mentawies? Are we all mentawied at this point? Is that the problem? Should we all, like, is the bolito making out, but we're all just running the mentawies all we can and missing out on bolito?
Yeah, I think so.
So
I guess I haven't really thought about this. Even when I read the email, I didn't think that deeply about it. But yes, I think that we need to get back to the essence of it without going for the glory.
yeah, we got to have, there should be a little, so, okay. I'm going to challenge the dear listener, both male and female listener, to try to make out with your partner, but try to do it in a way, don't talk about it. Don't bring it up. Don't say, "Hey, we're going to make out here. Let's make out a little bit." No. You just start making out and see. It'd be a real talent to be able to pull it off. A real talent.
Nobody's going to pull it off right out of the gate.
You don't think so? You don't think we have a listener out there who can make out with their either longtime girlfriend, boyfriend, and or husband, wife?
The length of relationship matters. It has.
Yeah. We're saying it's got to be obviously over 6 years.
Yes. If you've been together 6 years, then you could play this game. If not,
You still are making out. You might be making out.
Exactly. So here, I do think that people will successfully do it. What I'm saying is there will be an initial rebuff. There will be an initial pushback and be like, "What a question!" At least one question of like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" And I do think that a large portion will be able to address the question and move forward and get the successful makeout.
What I need, though, the only thing I'm going to call a success is if you can't explain what's happening. You cannot say when they pull back and say, "What are you doing?" You can't say, "I just wanted to make out." You can't say, I just wanted to feel close to you." You can't say anything. You got to go back in and start making out again, and you got to keep it going.
Okay. Whether they pull it off or not, for those who do pull it off, I think that this is going to lead to pure benefit. I think that this is a good thing. I think now that I've actually thought about it, if you can reconnect with your long-term partner in this childlike way, I think that the kind of benefits of it may be untold. I think it revitalizes some of that youthful spirit.
How long has Kelly Slater been with Kalani?
20 years, 21 years.
Do you think they make out? Do you think that's part of being in Club 18?
No.
You don't think so?
I mean, unless they take our advice right here. I think that this is a totally normal progression in relationship. If you've been together a decade, you don't make out.
Yeah, but so we're both advocating for bringing the makeout back, or at least I'm going to try it. I'm going to go try and see if I can pull off a makeout.
I would be surprised if there's anybody who is against the idea. I would be curious if there's anybody listening who goes, "Gross. I don't want to make out with my decade-old partner."
Nobody
does it, is my point. Like, nobody does it, and I think everybody would be down for it.
What length are we considering a makeout? There's kissing and then there's making out.
30
What do you have to cross? More than 30 seconds? No, it's got to be more than 3 minutes.
No.
$1.50.
A makeout could be 30 seconds is well beyond a kiss. 30 seconds of like tongue in mouth is
Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time. Okay.
5 minutes of real time.
Okay, so 30 seconds. Okay, so you got to go longer than 30 seconds. I'm putting this challenge out there. If any listener can pull off a makeout with your bigger, longer than 6-year partner, you get a hat from Glide Surf Shop. right here, right here in Asbury Park, New Jersey.
You don't even need a hat. You're on cloud nine at that point. You've revitalized the youth in your relationship. Like, you are winning at life.
I don't know if you've seen the Glide surf hats. They're pretty cool.
Everything about Glide is amazing. Look, I think retail has had a resurgence in the last 8 years or something of super cool shops. Glide is among the best of them.
I mean, I'm literally looking around the shop, have been this entire program today. The curation is what it is, right? There is like one. I don't want to call it a fanny pack, because what do we call them these days? Is this even a fanny pack? What is this? Look at this. Just one.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't go for this, but I could totally see someone coming in and saying, I've literally been looking for a fanny pack. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but the curation, right? I feel that you come in here and you just like, you find your little chef's kiss in Glide.
So additionally, I don't know if it's a part of the shop itself, but Phil, I believe, has built out or at least invested in a shaping bay / laminating shop as well. So he has shapers come through and do residencies and build the boards for the local community. And it's like a who's who of top names from different places. So I think that's also a key element. Like, old school surf shops, when they started, had a shaping bay. They built boards for the surf shop itself. And Phil has reinvested in that model.
Man, to Asbury Park gets better every time I come.
Yeah.
But Barrel, make out. But also make out and get a Glide hat.
And follow Glide on Instagram too.
Yeah, do that too.
It's just beautiful to look at.
Yep.
All right, man. Thanks for shutting down the shop, Phil. We appreciate it. And Chaz, until next week, I guess.
Yeah, let's hit what do you got tomorrow? Do you want to go a spicy meatball on the Patreon?
I got to check my schedule. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
But
Sweet.
I do. Answer is yes, I do.
Great. That was the right answer.
Until then.
Keep work.